let Rajat Sethi respond to what Sanjay Jha is saying, that now on social media, the Congress and Supriya often cites data to say that our posts are getting more engagement, more likes, more responses than posts put out by the government. Now, two things could have happened. One, after 10 years of being in power, the BJP ecosystem is satiated. They don't have that hunger, the kind of bhook they had when they were in opposition, and therefore they're not engaging with content as much. The second point, potentially that, the whole nature of social media is anti-establishment, and therefore if you've been in power for 10 years, a certain level of anti-incumbency will build up, and that will naturally find reflection. And that's the second theory. How do you look at it? This data that Congress is constantly banding, seeing, look at number of YouTube views for our speeches, look at your speeches, look at engagement on my post, look at engagement, whereas the base of the BJP support is much bigger than the base of the Congress or the opposition support.
No, I agree. I mean, clearly we are not living in an alternate reality where polls are happening on YouTube likes and the Prime Minister is getting elected on the number of YouTube shares you are having. Fortunately or unfortunately for the Congress party, that's the alternate reality that doesn't exist. One thing is for sure, that Congress is trying to up the game, up the heat in social media, and they have resorted that, perhaps they've been absent or missing in action for a fairly long time. They need to do something around that, and they keep putting up videos, and I believe that they have taken a strategy where abuses are normalized, where you go out and attack even a BJP candidate. If there is a slip of tongue, you come out on television discussions and say, oh, I did not say anything about Kangana Ranaut fighting from Mandi. You give, explanations which I personally feel is all bogus, but you keep tom-tomming your strategy saying that hua to hua, do abuse diya, char de denge, aage kya farak padta hai. This whole strategy of Congress party might be giving them dividends, but look at the voting patterns of the country, look at the number of states Congress party is in, barring the two parts of Karnataka and Telangana, the reality for Congress party is still...
Let Supriya Srinath respond to this, that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, these are not actual voters. The Congress is just about 41% of the BJP strength in the Lok Sabha. He's saying, okay, you can win on YouTube, we are winning the elections, we are in power, you are in the opposition, and good luck to you.
So what is this show on? This show was on the two narratives. This show was on the two barbs. That's the first point. I am willing to talk on the two barbs, and I will also speak about the political narrative, because given the strength that you have everywhere, you were supposed to end at 400. So what? You could not even cross 240. Let me not get started there. Let's talk about the issue on hand. I don't want to sit here and give an explanation, because I don't think people here deserve that explanation. If they did, I would have given. My explanation is in the public domain. I do not need certificate from BJP stooges. But what I do want to say is, the Prime Minister is so popular. Why are people not hearing his speech? Because his speeches are repetitive. They are boring. He's saying the same goddamn thing that he was saying before the elections took off. And the reality is, he is not talking about the issues that matter. Rahul Gandhi is talking about unemployment. He is meeting laborers. He is meeting loco pilots. He is meeting Agniveer families. That is why he's gaining popularity, because he is talking about
you don't know
the
that
issues
yet.
That are reflecting on the ground.
We will know if in Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Haryana, the BJP loses, the opposition wins, then you can say that. Right now, we don't know. You are saying he's gained massive popularity. At this moment, there is no empirical evidence of that post the Lok Sabha election. I mean, he's gained relative to his base, yes, but he's gained to make him equal in stature to the Prime Minister. I mean, we could be far from that, but ultimately we'll have the Mood of the Nation poll coming out in August, which will give us some indication.
Rahul.
Yes?
No, Rahul, I'll tell you what the problem here is, Rahul. I don't want a certificate from you either on whether the Rahul Gandhi has
I'm not giving anyone a certificate. I'm just stating the data.
Of metric has to be followed. If Rahul Gandhi's speeches are being watched by 10 lakh people and 70,000 people are watching Narendra Modi, there is a difference. Now you can say that's alternate reality, but that's a reality of narratives. That's a reality of who people want to hear. I do want to, however, say, this whole thing about how the Congress is taking pot shots and what I have done to this. The reality is that the same sermons had to be delivered to Narendra Modi, because he was in a constitutional position when he was speaking about Mujra. आपने बोला अपने प्रधानमंत्री को कि मुजरा मत बोलिए, मंगलसूत्र जैसी घटिया बातें मत करिए, डोंट टॉक अबाउट भैंस एंड टोटी एंड बिजली. Where did he take the discourse to it all through this election?
Okay.
People in the
Now,
BJP
Rajat Sethi,
that women in the BJP
Rajat Sethi, respond to Supriya Shrinet's point that these are real people. Every speech on YouTube, every engagement or like on Instagram or X or Facebook, these are real people. पहले तो कोई नहीं देख रहा था. Now there are people who are watching. There is a turnaround. You can compare with the kind of responses these opposition leaders were getting in the past, the kind of engagement they're getting now. These are real people who are watching more than they were watching earlier. Rajat Sethi. Just one second, Supriya. Otherwise we won't be able to have this conversation. Rajat Sethi.
See, Rahul, if you say that a comedy show has much higher views than an academician coming in and speaking, so the comedian show should be the comedian out there should be the prime minister of this country, what kind of a bizarre logic is that? Of course, you talk nonsense, then you will get more views. You talk things which make sense, you will have lesser views. That's how the trend of social media been. There is no two doubts about that. Today, if Rahul Gandhi is getting more views, where have you done the judgment that people are not there for their daily dose of entertainment? They want to see perhaps what entertainment he is going to serve on a platter every single day. That could be my interpretation.
Let Supriya respond that most of the Prime Minister's speeches, the vast majority, you're looking at a few words, but the vast majority of his speeches thrust is on governance, development. He's in power, therefore he has to be responsible. Rahul Gandhi is in opposition, so he can throw more punches, and therefore that makes his speech more enjoyable for lay people to watch. Supriya Shrinet.
I completely discredit your argument and what was said before this. It is bizarre and it's absolute nuisance and nonsensical to say that the leader of the opposition is doing comedy speeches and Narendra Modi is not. Forget about comedy. Let's have some comedy on your show this evening. मैं biological नहीं हूँ, मैं भगवान का अवतार हूँ. विज्ञान की ऐसी तैसी.
He didn't say मैं भगवान का अवतार हूँ. He didn't say मैं भगवान का अवतार हूँ.
This is fake news.
अरे आपके शो में उन्होंने कहा, आपके शो में.
Fake news.
एक मिनट, Rahul Kanwal, I am asking you a question. You asked him on the K-shaped recovery. He said सबको गरीब बना दूं. Is that the answer of a so-called academician prime minister? सबको गरीब बना दूं. उन्होंने ये नहीं कहा सबको अमीर बना दूं. उन्होंने पूछा कौन राहुल? And all of you laughed vulgar. What are you talking about here? Extra 2AB का एक फॉर्मूला ले आते हैं, पकौड़ा तल लेते हैं. 140 करोड़ देश में है लोग, 600 करोड़ मतदाता मिल जाते हैं. विवेकानंद, गुरु नानक और कबीर अलग अलग सदियों में पैदा हुए, उनको एक साथ बिठा के बात कराने लगते हैं. ईमेल और डिजिटल कैमरा आने से पहले ही वो यूज कर रहे थे. उनकी फोटोग्राफिक नहीं फोटोजेनिक मेमोरी होती है. वो परीक्षा पर चर्चा करते हैं, खुद कभी कोई परीक्षा नहीं दी है. द रियलिटी इज दैट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज डन एंड सेड थिंग्स that make for great comedy. But that's not what we are here for. We are here to talk about governance.
No.
And the one moot difference between us and the Prime Minister is that it is not Rahul Gandhi who's saying the things that the Congress social media is saying. It is we who are saying it. And we want to say it. But it was Narendra Modi who started Balak Buddhi.
No, but the problem, Geeta Bhatt, is...
We paid him back. You are willing to walk the talk on decency, on discourse, we are willing to walk it too. If you are not going to walk it, we are no saints.
Geeta, but what we are seeing is quite unprecedented. In the last 10 years, the BJP has attacked and attacked very brutally. This whole campaign of the papufication of Rahul Gandhi was a very successful BJP attack, and it found social traction, it went viral, and that's how it happened. The Congress is saying we are remaking Rahul Gandhi's image, and part of that involves attacking the Prime Minister directly. And there's enough that's been said. You know, you can say photogenic, photographic is actually just a slip of the tongue. When you say so much, and English isn't clearly his first language, he can make that slip. Now, how big a deal will you make it? But he says, aap karte to hum kyun na kare? That's what the argument really boils down to in substance. If you can pick on things and make them big, we can do the same. Geeta Bhatt.
Rahulji, you see, the condescending manner in which the Congress spokesperson is speaking and targeting everyone is something which is characteristics, of all Congress spokespersons. But the point here is that, you see, we have to understand Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Yes, they need to, Mr. Rahul Gandhi needs to have an ecosystem to support him to continue to become, to maintain in a way his as a political leader of Congress party across the country. But you see what happened is, Rahulji, they have, in some way, they succeeded in this election in putting up a false narrative regarding that the constitution is going to get changed. and the reservation is going to give. Partially, they succeeded in some parts of the country. And that has bolstered them and Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the other people from the Congress party in just speaking anything, blatantly putting forward, saying that, for example, that the defense minister, he has lied in the parliament. He should apologize to everybody. These are Mr. Rahul Gandhi's words. And from the leader of opposition, criticism is something which is required, but there has to be some kind of a decorum. And in terms of lying like this, putting up videos, let me tell you that
I'm out of time on this conversation.
Something which was part of it which was already there before the election. When Mr. Rahul Gandhi
I'm out of time on this conversation. Sanjay Jha wants to make a quick final point before I wrap up. Sanjay, in the interest of fairness, 20 seconds before I conclude.
Yeah. I think, Rahul, the chickens are coming home to roost for the BJP. And this is an elephant in the room that we need to address. The Prime Minister has to set the standards for the public discourse in India. Whatever he says gets a headline, is discussed. He sets a narrative for all our political dialogue in the country. And I think Mr. Modi has the singular responsibility today that if we are having this conversation today on your program, Mr. Modi has to look within and introspect as to what has he done to elevate the level of our political
I'm out
dialogue.
of time on this conversation. Here's what I want to say to players across the political party. We must try and raise the standard of Indian democracy. The level of discourse should be something that all of us as citizens can look up to. Our leaders should really shine through the power of their argument, the power of their rhetoric, not by trying to bring the standard of discourse down, by trying to take it as low as possible. And that really is my fervent hope. But given what we've seen, it seems we're on a very slippery slope and that we could be heading down much faster than any one of us who's watching at this time would like.